Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy were better than me. Brutal honesty from Ruben Amorim, our head coach, in the embargoed version of the press conference. The press must have been licking their lips with their headline set for 12 o'clock this morning. Not Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's involved in this, actually. I'm getting too mixed up with the Ruuds and Rubens right now. But Ruben Amorim, our head coach, has just laid it all out there as to what is going on, why players are failing at Manchester United, opening up on Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy, Marcus Rashford, where he thinks Chido Obi Martin will fit in, Dorgu, why he brought him into the football club, everything that you wanted answering and where you feel United are right now with everything that's happened in January. Ruben was open and clear and transparent about in that press conference. We knew that the embargo version was coming and it hit with a bang. Like I said, the media must have been licking their lips. They've had all this laid out, and social media has been a pile-on of Ruben Amorim quotes this morning with everything that he said last night. Sorry for my jittery start there, everybody. I don't know what happened. But Ruben has been opening up big time. This is your morning show on Forever United TV, everybody. Welcome along. I'm Adam. It's match day. Are Manchester United going to head into the fifth round of the FA Cup by beating Ruud van Nistelrooy's Leicester tonight? Just give me a simple yes or no in that poll that's up in the live chat right now. Please subscribe to get involved in the live chat and give me your comments on these quotes from Ruben Amorim. Quite brutal. We're going to go through the transfer speculation as well and all the stories floating around, some more interesting ones, and there is a bit of a consistency going on with these rumours at the moment as well. We'll get into that later on as well, though. But we want to start with Ruben Amorim's press conference. The embargoed version, part 2 of this press conference, definitely left nothing out there at all in the open. It was literally everything laid out on the table. This is what's happening. This is what happened. And I just think, again, pure honesty from our head coach, Ruben Amorim. He's just laying it out there and letting everybody know there is nothing hidden at Manchester United right now. It is just, like I said at the top of the show, brutal honesty from Ruben Amorim. And I'll start with Marcus Rashford and what he said about him. And there's been loads of quotes. You'd have seen this all over social media this morning. If you haven't done, I'll go into it and lay it all out in terms of what has actually been said. But basically saying that he just could not get Marcus Rashford to train the way that he wanted him to. He could not get it across to Marcus at all. He basically gave up on him quickly because he hasn't got no time. He hasn't got time to wait around for players to mopes around and then figure out what they want to do and then just make it happen at Manchester United under him. He is just calling it as it is. And Marcus Rashford, and that is the reason ultimately Marcus Rashford is out of the door. The questions were asked about Marcus. Obviously, we've seen in the first part where he said just take your questions to Unai Emery at Aston Villa in Birmingham. But he has opened up about what he couldn't do with Marcus Rashford. And I think that pains him because when you listen to it, or even if you read it, you could feel the pain in his voice. You could sort of get where he was coming from. And that led to him actually saying as well that it hits his pride, it hurts his pride, the fact that Ruud van Nistelrooy and Erik ten Hag managed to get more out of these players in training. Now, we all know that that's not the real truth, but that's what Ruben Amorim is putting out there right now. He is just giving nobody anything to come back on him with. And when you look at that, when you listen to that quote, when he actually says it, it's like he feels like Erik ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy got more in training out of these players. That's simply because Ruud van Nistelrooy and Erik ten Hag, and I'm not saying this, I think Ruud eventually would have had a bit of a backbone and he would have come down on the players maybe. Ten Hag had no backbone at all. He buckled to the players. Yeah, you could say he dealt with Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho, but that wasn't anything to do with his methods or what his style of play was. He buckled on that instantly. And Ruben saying that he actually feels like Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy got more out of the players in training than he did. It hurts his pride. It's hard to take. Well, we don't really know that. I mean, there's nothing to be said really that agrees with that statement from Ruben Amorim. I think the players are adapting to a new system. And from the press conference yesterday and what he said, when he said that he was talking about changing everything and taking that risk. Not what we look at and what a lot of people are looking at from the United side of things. The rest of the media, I can understand why he would say this because they're the ones that are going in on him. But we know the risk that he's taking. We know what's necessary at Manchester United. The rest of the world can look at it from the outside and judge him on the football side of things. That's fair, no problem. But I think every single Manchester United fan, when Ruben says that, if we were sat down in that same room as Ruben Amorim in that press conference and he said it hurts his pride that Ruud van Nistelrooy and Ten Hag got more out of these players in training than he did, I think that's inexperience at a big club coming out there, because he is basically saying that he has failed so far. He has failed where other managers got more out of him. Well, no. And like we said, if we were there in that room, we'd be just grabbing him by his shoulders and saying, no, Ruben, no, you are doing exactly what is necessary right now. Please keep going. Honestly, if I was in that press conference, I would have said that to him. It's like, look, no. I know I won't get the chance to, but you just want to, don't you? You look at him right now, he looks vulnerable, Ruben Amorim, and you just want to keep his confidence going. That's how it feels. As a United fan, I just want him to, like, you know what, mate? No, you're not. Someone just needs to tell him that he's actually doing a good job, that he's actually doing the right things here right now, because all he's getting is pelters from the media, pelters from the pundits, everybody putting pressure on him, and all he can see is the headlines that are being written in papers, on the websites, on Sky Sports, or TalkSport, or radio, TV, wherever it may be. All he can see is them headlines being written about him, and him not tactically being able to get more out of these players. Him not being able to physically get more out of these players, or mentally train these players into dealing with the way that he wants football being played. We can see what the problem is. I just hope that this is how Ineos are looking at it, because he has also said in this, and Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail has done a big piece on this as well, that on top of that, he feels fully backed and fully supported by the board, which what was the one thing after what I just said then about him worrying and like just sinking into this hole. I think the fact that he said that's gave me a little bit of hope that Ineos are actually backing him, and it doesn't matter what happens, keep doing what you're doing, and eventually the big changes that have been necessary for over a decade at this football club will happen, and we will get the players out that don't want to be at Manchester United. We will have players that want to play this system, and I feel like that's the only thing going off what was said yesterday in his press conference that gives me hope. I just don't want him demoralising to a level where it's just like, I can't do anything anymore, and he walks out the door, or he gives up. Honestly, I don't know where we would go from there, and that would be the pits. That would be the worst case scenario for any Manchester United fan right now, and Ruben walking out the door, and we have to start again from this. So that, I feel, was the biggest point from that. The fact that he actually owned up and says, look, I couldn't get anything out of Marcus Rashford. Isn't it a breath of fresh air that you've actually got a coach that's come in and said, I'm not going to wait 3 or 4 years for Rashford to actually come to the situation where it snaps and he realises it's the first time we've had a coach come in and understand the situation he's in and how much time he's got to actually get things moving. And he isn't going to wait around for players to just stroll around the training ground and just decide when they want to. Like the rule of the roost basically now is down to Ruben Amorim and Ineos and not the players anymore. And that is why everything is kicking off. This is why the players are struggling so much, because it was so far down the other end of the scale and the players doing whatever they wanted. It's taken all of this carnage and all of this mess to get to where we are right now. I just wanted him to stand by what he's doing. And that's exactly what he has done so far. So it's no problem at all for me in terms of what's happening right now. It's what's necessary. I said it many times before, and I'll say it again. I back the players, and I hope that they would actually support Ruben Amorim and be good enough to actually play this system and be, well, proper professional footballers. They've not. So now we're backing Ruben Amorim in the midst of Manchester United being absolutely awful. I think that's the way it has to go. We have to roll with this and take the punches. And unfortunately, it's going to get more and more painful as the season goes on. But he gave up on Rashford. He said he just couldn't get more out of him. He's gone. It was his decisions, he also said, to get rid of the likes of Antony and Tyrell Malacia. That's on me. I'm looking for a certain profile of player. I want to have a certain player in this team that's going to change Manchester United and how we want to work going forward. So again, from starting off like on a low beat, feeling like he has been outdone by the likes of Erik Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy, the press conference started to build up and up and up, and you could just see him structuring it. And I think this is where we could sort of get a little bit more encouraged by how Ruben is handling the media. It's like, this is the problems, this is what I couldn't do, this is the sad part about it in Ten Hag, Van Nistelrooy, Rashford, the players he's had to let go, the results and everything like that. And he starts to build it up a little bit, because then he gets into the other players, the profile of players that he's bringing in. That's when he then goes into the likes of Doggy, which we're going to touch on in a minute. But just out that initial section there from what Ruben has said, please give me your comments in the live chat, everybody. Let me know how you feel about what Ruben has said there. Is that encouraging for you? Do you feel like that is what's necessary at United right now? Do you feel like that, looking at what Ruben has said there, is a man owning up to the issues finally at Manchester United, or is that showing weakness? Talk to me in the chat, everybody. Let's get into this and what's actually happening. Is he right to just say, I couldn't deal with Marcus Rashford and he's gone? Is that the right thing to do? Rude didn't get more. It's very short and sample as for Erik Ten Hag. It was exhausting football, no progression, nothing. It was, Lord have mercy, in 90 minutes plus football. Yeah, Lord have mercy. That's a good line, that one. The British media are embarrassing. I thought one reporter started to cry when asking about Marcus Rashford. Are these just pre-game excuses? I'm getting a bit concerned with the over-talking. It's time to manage, not talk. I'm sorry, but it's about actions now. Second half of the season, squeaky bum time. I get what you're saying there, Director of Football, but honestly, he can only answer the questions he's been asked in the media and in the press conference. I think he has done a lot more walking, to be honest, because he's acted, and that's what I think he's putting across there. He doesn't want to be speaking to the media. He wants to train the players. So I don't think there's any concerns there in what Ruben's saying. There's no excuses. I think what he said is, I couldn't get the best out of Marcus Rashford. He's gone. Simple as. I made the decision in getting rid of Anthony and Tyrone last year. Two players that Ten Hag brought into Manchester United. So I think he has walked the walk. I just don't think he's got the tools to continue walking it in a positive way. He's taking the walk, but he's getting pelters along the way. It's like the walk of shame, isn't it? He's getting cabbages, he's getting fruit and everything thrown at him. It's like that walk of shame from, Game of Thrones, Shame, when she's walking down that high street and everyone's throwing things at her. That's like his walk. He's like, I'm standing up to this. I'm going to take it. I'm going to keep on going forward. It doesn't matter what happens. I have to believe in my own philosophy. I have to believe in my own style and what I am doing as a coach. And then we go on from there. But I think it was good that he was actually owning up to certain things. And it's like, some managers would say, look, we're going to keep playing Rashford. He will come good. He will come good eventually. 2 months in, he's seen right through him and he sent him away. He dealt with him last year as well. We desperately need a left back. He's not good enough. He ain't got the right attitude. He's gone. Anthony could have easily covered Manchester United on that right-hand side, giving us energy and something else. Not the right profile of player. Hasn't got that mental strength to handle a United shirt. Go do it in a Betis shirt. That's his level. And Ruben's seen all of this quickly and then owned up to the risk that he's taken in doing it because it was necessary, just to prepare United for the summer that he wished he'd have come into in the summer. But in a weird way right now, I look at this and everything that's gone wrong at United now, Ruben Amorim, I'm sure, will look at this and say, I wish I was in the summer. I wish I could have just dealt with all of this in the summer and trained these players. Well, realistically, when you look at it, he's kind of done himself a favour by coming in early, because he's seen what Marcus Rashford is in the flesh when the transfer window is still there to get rid of him. Because in the summer, you would have been stuck with him for the start of the season. Everybody would have been criticising him even more because Rashford would have still been there, underperforming, as we know he would have been doing. He's come in. He's had the chance to see these players for real, for what they are, and he's been able to get rid of some of them already and start preparing this team without them, ready for the summer. Yes, them players have got to come back from loan, I understand that, but still, like, they're out now, and he can start working on the style. And there is no more ego trips, there is no more power or control or player FC at Manchester United now that Rashford has gone. I think this is done in the power of good, in seeing what we really are. And then he can hit the summer with what we need in the transfer window and then start afresh right on the opening day of the season next season. And hopefully that is the turning point for United, and we can really start looking at what Ruben's football is all about. Just keep the faith. 4 weeks of one. Game weeks, 4 weeks of 1 game weeks, right, full stop, threw me out there, mate. Training. Amorim has done great things already in a short space. Getting rid of player power is a massive factor, and once he gets the players he wants, this team will improve dramatically. I feel like that's how everyone's hoping it is going to be. I think it's more than hope. I think it will get better, but still, we don't know, do we, yet? Because these players have been so poor, we haven't even got a taste for Ruben Amorim football yet. That's how bad it is. Fergie was reporting news from Amorim's mouth. I'm not sure what you mean by that one, Gray. I'm not getting too emotional about any manager that doesn't stabilise the team. I've been saying it from the start of the season. Lesson learnt from Erik ten Hag. Without signings, you must first stabilise the ship. I think he is. I think he is stabilising it. You could say it's crazy. You could say it's a little bit loose cannon right now when it's all over the place. But still, I think when you look at it right now, I think he is stabilising it. But he's doing proper stabilising. He's not putting a plaster on it. He's actually going down and operating. He is actually doing. So you're going under the general anaesthetic or the local anaesthetic. Obviously, we know what Ralph Rangnick said. He said, look, this needs open heart surgery. Ruben Amorim has just gone straight in. Make that call. Here we go. General, put them under. Let's open them up. Let's take everything out that's not working. Let's replace it. Let's fix it. Let's stitch it back up in the summer. And then let's go again in the new season. It's a long operation, this one. And he is finally doing that open heart surgery that Mr. Wreck-It Ralph himself was open about and what this club actually needed. He's doing it. So that's what I see right now. He is stabilising Manchester United in a way that is going to be beneficial going all the way into the future, not just for a couple of seasons like it has been for the last 10 years. One good season into the Champions League, then back out again. Oh, okay, what are we going to do? We'll spend a bit of money and this manager will progress because these players are really good players and we'll get through another season. Let's just keep going. Let's just put a new plaster on it, clean up the wound, and then we go again, and it opens up again, gets infected. It just continues and continues. No, bang, needle in, you're out for the count. We're not going to wake you up until we're ready to go again. That's the open heart surgery that Ralph was talking about. That's what Ruben Amorim is doing right now. The operation is well and truly underway, and he is. It is working. It is working because we do need to have the foundation in place before we start bringing in any of the bricks and mortar. And the bricks and mortar are the better players. The foundation needs to be Manchester United's structure, Manchester United's academy, the players that are going to feed this team continuously through the year, getting rid of the crap, getting rid of all of the players that are just walking around, Carrington, like we said, doing whatever they want. Ruben is doing it. He's more than doing it. It's just that the players are just not there for him to actually see the real Ruben football. I cannot wait to judge him properly next season. And he won't be getting any sort of issues regarding the fan base and wanting him out, I don't think, at all, until 2 years in. I think, obviously, we'll start looking at him next January, after he's had a half a season and a window, and a full trading pre-season, and then we'll start seeing a little bit, I think. But I think just him being honest in that press conference and being completely honest with everybody about dealing with Marcus Rashford, and then him being the one that sent Anthony and Malacia away. Any other manager would have just kept them players and said, look, they're squad players. We could use them. We needed a wing-back. Anthony could have done it. We needed one on the left-hand side. Malacia was the only fit left-footed player we've got, and he's gone as well. He's been honestly brutal, and that's what was needed at Manchester United. Adam, I'm not sure Ruben realises just how good a job he's doing. It's very true. If we got to the bounce that Gary Neville expected, they would have learned nothing. There's no papering over any cracks, is there? This is the one thing when you look at it, and I understand everyone gets a manager bounce, and all the media have talked about is that. Why have United not got this new manager bounce? Well, because everybody at United knows that this place has been poisoned for the last decade. And it doesn't matter anymore. We've not got that bounce because Ruben's come in and he's just told the players straight that this is the way it's going to go. And your life that you had and the freedom that you had around Manchester United is now gone. It's as simple as that. I'm going to get into more of these quotes from Ruben Amorim. I'm going to roll through quite a few of them, then I'm going to come back to the comment section as well. So bear with me. Ruben insists he has the support of the Old Trafford board, even though Manchester United's decision not to sign a striker in the transfer window could backfire on him. Doesn't matter what happens from now until the end of the season, that says to me. I feel support of the board. I'm asking that. I'm not the slightest bit worried about it. It's just the pain of losing. That's the hardest thing to cope with. I know, mate. I'm not naive. This is a sport of results, and we are in a difficult situation. But since day one, I take these risks because at the end, it's going to pay off. That was the quick key one from yesterday. Amir admits poor form has given him some sleepless nights. Of course, you have difficult moments, hard to sleep, whatever. Even when you are winning, you doubt yourself. That's a good thing. I am always doubting myself about everything. Never satisfied, I think, is what we take from that. Amorim says he has no regrets about not keeping Ruud van Nistelrooy on his backroom team ahead of the Dutchman's return to Old Trafford with Leicester. It says it wouldn't have been fair to put Van Nistelrooy above or below his own assistants. Now, on that, he said he was brutally honest with Van Nistelrooy. He said he had a conversation with him. He said he didn't want to put a legend of this football club behind all of his staff. He didn't want to put his staff in an awkward situation where you've got another man there who knows a lot about this football club. He wanted to go in bare and just everyone learn at the same time. And he just laid it out. He said he wasn't going to put him above his staff because he trusts his staff. And he didn't want to put a Man United legend below his staff. And he was just honest about the situation. I don't think he could have handled it any better. And I think that's good for Man United fans to know. Because no one's told us about any conversation regarding Van Nistelrooy and Ruben Amorim before. Apparently the stories at the time when Ruben came in, Van Nistelrooy had already left. That was what was going around. So the fact that he's actually come out and told United fans that he's had this conversation, again, it just shows the character of the man that's in place at Manchester United now for me. And that's what I get encouraged by, that he's actually looking at everything. He sees the status of Van Nistelrooy, talks about him glowingly. He's happy to be open and talking to him about the situation. He just says it as it is. And it's just an understanding. If you're dead straight and you're honest from the get-go, then that's the start that's necessary for building the foundations, for building on top of them foundations as you go forward. Because everybody knows where they stand. And if that wasn't the case, which it hasn't been in previous years, then you get the carnage that we've got and where we're at, where we are now. Because everybody's hiding behind somebody else. Ruben Amorim has got himself and his staff. There's no one else there. There's no excuses for him. Everybody knows it's cleared the decks. No one's there that has been the problem. The only thing that Ruben Amorim has done is brought in Diego Leon, Aidan Heaven and Patrick Dorgu. That's the only contribution to the situation right now, apart from the training and taking over this disaster of a football team. That's it. That's all we've got to judge Ruben on at the moment. I think people just need to remember that. He's not done anything yet in terms of significance to this club and how it runs. He has got his team in place and that's it. There's no one for the place to go back on. Like, remember the conversation we had with Van Nistelrooy? It's like, do we want everyone to go at this football club, or do you think Ruud van Nistelrooy can do a job for Ruben? Well, the players could go to Ruud and start sopping up to him a little bit, and then it starts to spread a little bit, the bad word. All there is in there is Ineos people and structure and Ruben Amorim people. There's nothing of the old guard there that's going to help these players in any way. And I think they've been exposed because of it. There's nowhere else for him to run. And I think that was why he went in on Ruud van Nistelrooy as well. As, like I said then, like he was respectful to Van Nistelrooy's position and status at the football club as well. We all know Ruud wanted to stay, but Ruben has just said to him, look, no, this is how I want to do it. I don't want to disrespect you. I don't want to disrespect my staff. And a man that's just completely open and transparent. And I think the club are struggling to deal with it. I think the fans sometimes, even the doubters, are struggling to deal with how open Ruben Amorim is with things. And I think it's just I think it's a slap in the face for a lot of fans. It's like, this is like refreshing in a way, the way that Ruben Amorim actually is. I could have kept Van Nistelrooy. I could have kept Ruud, sorry, because it was a good thing for me, or a popular thing to do. But I will not put Ruud in front of my guys, no matter what. Then I had to put a person like Ruud at the end of the hierarchy of my staff, and I think that was not fair on Ruud. Pretty much what I just said there as well. He also talks about his pride. This is the quote that I was talking a moment ago. Also admits it hurts his pride that Van Nistelrooy and Ten Hag have a better record than him at United as a boss this season. They were better than me in training this team. It's really hard because I am really proud guy, but I take this normally. It's not awkward. Amorim says he struggled to get through to Rashford because the players loan moved to Villa. I couldn't get Marcus to see the way you're supposed to play football and train the way I see it. And that was pretty much from the opening of the show as well. That's the actual quote from Ruben Amorim there. But really, when you look at all of that and you look at what he said there, being honest about where he is, the transfer window gone. Rashford's left. The players have left that he said can go. We've got a couple of young players in we're going to see right now. I said this before and it was sort of like a few people thought I was just like hopeful in saying what I did. But it does feel now like, boom, there you go. That's your fresh start. The carnage of everything and his opening 2.5 months, 3 months at Manchester United is done. The window's shut. Players have left. He's made his points. He's very clear. He's very open. I think this press conference today is the turning of a new page. And him saying, look, we move forward as we are right now. I'm going to get into a bit on what he said actually about Patrick Dorgu, because that's also a really good line on what he said as well. And this is where it starts to get a little bit more encouraging. Please, first of all, though, make sure that you have subscribed. Get into the live chat, everybody. We're on the road to 75k. We have over 1,600 in the room with us. Give the video a like as well. Let's see what you're all saying in the chat right now. Don't know if three at the back will ever work in the Prem. Ruben's stubbornness might cost us for some reason. Van Nistelrooy managed to get these same players working together for a few weeks. Let's be honest, they weren't great, were they? They weren't great. We beat a piss poor Leicester side who were understrengthed. We had an alright draw against Chelsea. Nothing fantastic there. Pauk, I mean, seriously, are we talking about them? Not great. And then we had a swan song with Leicester. We beat them 3-0 again. It wasn't great games. And that was basically United players doing exactly what they were doing with Ten Hag. But they had a new voice there. And I don't think Van Nistelrooy would have managed to get Manchester United any further than what Ruben has right now. And let's be honest, we'd have gone into the summer with exactly the same problem as we have done every other summer. This summer, it feels completely different already because of what Ruben Amorim has actually already done. In the poll, I've put, will United win tonight? Simple one, just for you guys, because it is match day and it is Leicester later on tonight. So all of your match day content is coming up on a Friday. That feels weird, honestly. Like Friday bleeding football. Thursdays are bad enough. Anyway, 82% of you feel that United are going to get the win tonight. So we're in confident moods. Just under 1,000 votes on that poll as well, and 82% are saying United win tonight. I'm not too confident. Honestly, I'm not. In terms of that 3-4-3 formation and how it actually works, I mean, if you go through the list of managers that have played it, if you actually look into how it actually works throughout, I know you could say it's in different leagues, but everybody knows that Antonio Conte won the Premier League with a 3-4-3, and even with a back five at times. Tuchel won the Champions League with a 3-4-3. Alonso turned Leverkusen into that invincible team with a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1 as well. Inzaghi at Inter Milan, 3-4-3. Do you know what I mean? You've just got to look at it. And Ruben Amorim himself changed Sporting around. It's not the system. The system has got nothing to do with the Premier League. It's the application, it's the understanding, and it's the sheer willingness to go outside of your comfort zone and work for a manager or play for a coach. Look what Xabi Alonso got out of that Leverkusen side. Look what Conte got and Tuchel got from the Chelsea teams. It is doable. It's a myth how anybody could think that 3-4-3 won't work in the Premier League. Why? Why won't it work in the Premier League? Somebody tell me. It's an adaptable system. And anybody talking about the formation failing in the Premier League, you only have to look at what Manchester United did against Liverpool. Even Jamie Carragher had to own up to it. It's different when it comes to the player profiles and what they're playing against. Like for Liverpool, it was easier. Against Arsenal, it was easier. Your back's to the wall, you're supporting, you're predominantly in a back five and then pushing forward to stop Liverpool or Arsenal playing. And then your quality players can hopefully get you a goal out of it, which they did on the days in them games against Arsenal and Liverpool. It's easy, but when you come up against the lesser teams, the Brightons, no disrespect, the Crystal Palaces and these sort of games, even Fulham to a certain extent because we struggled in that game, it's a bit different. And then the profile of player really kicks in and you see the real character because then the onus is on them. You're not the underdog anymore. and it's harder to play that system. So that's the player that Ruben's talking about. And that's what he says about Patrick Dorgu. Because in this press conference as well, he was asked about Dorgu. And he said, that's the player that will fit at Manchester United. Not quote unquote these words, but this is what a general sort of consensus from the press conference was. That Patrick Dorgu has them attributes, has the profile to be a Manchester United player. He's everything that we need right now, Ruben Amorim is saying. So he's lauding Patrick Dorgu in the press conference as well. So in losing Tyrell Malacia, we brought in someone better who could play, who has got that more attacking prowess and can give him more in this system as well. So I think he was getting excited when talking about Dorgu. And I think this, like I just said a moment ago, is the encouraging part of the press conference and where Ruben is actually going. I think like this right now is where we should be looking at moving forward. And when I say turning of the page, this felt like what the press conference was. It was the bad, the situation, they're dealing with it, and then he started to get encouraged and start talking about the players. He also went into Aiden Heaven and why they brought him in. Another player that has the attributes, left-footed, left-sided player for the centre-backs. Another player that can be utilised and used, has everything that we need, young, enthusiastic. Again, going down that young road and talking about players, I think, at a certain profile, and in that profile is definitely age. I think this is definitely a push for where Manchester United's future is. And that foundation is younger players. And feeding this first team and having plenty there. Like we've said many a times before, we've done a few videos this week on the younger players at United. You'll have Leon coming in the summer. Maybe Harry Amass will start working his way into Manchester United's first team squads as backup to Dorgu this season as well. And then you'll have plenty of options. Obviously, I wanted to touch on it at the end of the show with the transfer news, but you're hearing the stories about Quenda. You're hearing the stories about Wesley. All of these types of players that are being lined up by Manchester United at affordable prices for the summer. It's building a younger core of Manchester United players. It does feel like we are weaning out the old guard and bringing in new, enthusiastic, different types of players. And like Ruben said, different profile of players. Aiden Heaven, I think, will play for United this season. I think definitely now that we've got Shaw, a left-sided centre-back, Martinez, left-sided centre-back. Key word there is what Ruben said in that press conference, and it gives us a good idea about Aiden Heaven going forward. A left-footed defender. Someone else who can work in the system. He's now got a left-footed centre-back at 18 that you could put there and work with. And Patrick Dorgu is 20, a left-sided wing-back. Natural fitting players for a system that he wants to implement at Manchester United. And I think that, again, is why he starts to get a little bit more enthusiastic in his tone. And when he starts talking in his press conference then about the optimism going forward into the future, that's how it felt. And you watch it back, it just... Like I say, it goes low and it starts to build up and he starts to get a little bit more encouraged. And that, I think, is what we should be clinging on to, I think, more than anything. And that's what I'm taking from this press conference from Ruben. Pain is still going to be there. We're going to struggle and we're going to struggle going forward. But when you dive in deep into what he's saying and how he's talking, just take the snippets out of it. It hurts his pride how Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy might have got more in training out of these players. The way he handled the Ruud van Nistelrooy situation, the way he's handled the Marcus Rashford situation, how he's calling the shots with the players that leave. When players come in, it's up to him to make them better. That's his part. But he's in very close communication with Jason Wilcox and the profile of players and what's needed at Manchester United. I will tell them what I want. They will go out with the scouts then and find them players, and then we will pick the perfect player. Football structure. If anything, that's the one positive that you can take from Ineos being in situ at Manchester United. It is a positive that we actually have got people that are working the right way. And I really do hope now that we have got rid of the bad blood that we can start to get a bit of a steadier flow at Manchester United. There are players there that you can clearly see fell under his sword but have been brought back. There is attitude and character. It's the only reason I think that Garnacho is back in Manchester United's side. He's starting to believe, look, there's nowhere for him to turn. There's nowhere to run anymore. There's no one bailing them out. These players have got nowhere else to go except to Ruben Amorim and his staff. And what do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, no, this is not good enough. And then where are they going to go? They're going to go to Jason Wilcox. He's just going to tell them to go back to Ruben Amorim. You think Ineos or anyone else above Jason Wilcox are going to say, oh, sorry, yeah, maybe we do need to actually get the manager to do something? They're not going to do anything. They're just going to get that player to deal with that in-house. And there's only one man in-house that you're going to be able to speak to, Ruben Amorim. And that's why these players are all being weaned out. That's why these players are failing right now. That's why Manchester United are so crap. It's because of Ruben Amorim. Because he's exposed them. Not because of what he is as a coach and how good he is. Because of who he is and what he stands for. That's the difference. That's the difference in where United are at right now. We are bad because these players have had a shock to the system. And we have to go this low to start to turn the corner and come back again. It can only get better from here for United. I really do hope that these players now just start to actually turn a corner for Ruben and realise that their careers are going down the Swanee. Do you want to be them players that actually just disappear off into the horizon from Manchester United? Do you want to be known as that player that was the worst ever Manchester United player in the worst ever side in its history in the Premier League? That, I think, for me, is all important. Just listening to what he said, and I'll bring up another quote here from what Ruben Amorim said regarding the players and his decision to get rid of them. The important thing is that I'm here saying it was my decision. And Malacia and Antony, it was my decision to do these loans and to keep some players even without any transfers. I am just here saying that was my decision. He's taking ownership of it. So but what he's saying there is these players are not moving on. They're going to assess them in the summer. We all know the reality is that he isn't going to use them. I think Ineos and how they are in terms of their structure and what they want to do in making money for Manchester United to spend again is that Anthony Malacia will be sold on. That's why we've got sell on. That's why we've got that buy clause for Malacia in there as well. There's nothing for Anthony, but obviously we've got bonuses out of that as well. So we will make money off the Anthony loan, which is good. I think he will be sold on in the summer as well. We talked about that last night. But Ruben is saying, look, I've told Ineos, I've told Jason Wilcox, I want them players out. Loan them out. I want them out of the way. They're not going to play here. They're not going to progress here under me. And he's been honest about it, and they've gone out on loan. So let's see if they do progress. Let's see if they do actually get better in the clubs that they're at right now. And then Ruben will be proved right again in terms of them not fitting in right now. But maybe they can earn some more for the club, either by coming back a different player, doubt it, or earning the club money in the summer when we really need to reinvest back into the squad. I think that's where we're at with it. Gifted membership from London. Thank you, my friend. I'm coming into the comment section now, everybody, for the last part of the show. Thank you. We've got just under 1,800 people in the room. Give the video a like. Let's get that up to near 500 if we can. Subscribe to the channel as well. Then you can get into the live chat, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. There is a fantastic prize with our sponsors, football prizes as well. Honestly, 39p a ticket. I think just get one at least, everyone. I'm going to drop the link into the chat right now so you've got it. A signed, framed Eric Cantona shirt with LED lighting around it and an actual TV built into the frame with a highlight of one of his goals. Honestly, it's amazing. I need to get the visual up for you so we've actually got it. I'll try and get that up before the end of the show, but I'm just going to pop the link in there. Just click on that link in the live chat, everybody. It's a great price, and it's only 39p. 39p a ticket. Amazing. Great prize as well. Right. Are we winning tonight? Well, coming up to just 1,200 votes on this one. 81% of you are in confident mood tonight. Ruben's got them ready. We're going to get the win tonight. Let's see. Again, I'll go back to saying I'm not fully confident myself. I'm not 100% certain that this is a definite, but still, I've got to feel Leicester are going to change the squad. Is survival more important? We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the day. Obviously, we'll have the warm-up show and everything like that and the usual matchday content. We'll get into the game itself a little bit later. Amorim failing to look in the mirror for his own bad team lineups. He has played the same team twice. Has he played the same team twice? Yeah, this is what he's going to have to start learning, isn't he? He's trying to find out about these players in the middle of a season, and that's the risk that he owns up to. At least he's actually owning up to it. if we do a documentary 20 years from now, who would stand out as a legend from today's squad? There is no legends at this football club at the moment, mate. So that's the answer to that one. The prima donnas are all being found out by Ruben Amorim. It's fantastic. Yep, we have to start playing attacking football. How we invite opponents to our half beats me. I think it's again like profile of player. Like maybe with Dorgu in the team. If Heaven comes in, like it's another quick left-sided centre-back. Maybe he can play a little bit more confidently. Maybe he can start settling on a side. Maybe inadvertently, with the injuries and everything that's going on, he will stumble upon his best side now going through. But we'll see. We'll see. Plenty of time left to figure out what his best side is this season. But I'm with you on that one. I think we do need to start playing a more consistent team. And I think we will see that this month, especially with the gaps in between games anyway. Amorim needs 1 billion investment. Ineos have 200 million and a toilet roll. Well, they can't spend $1 billion in the summer, can they? They spent over 200 million in the first summer. So let's see if we get the same again in the next summer. I think that's when we can start really judging. Dan says Lindelof, Eriksen, Casemiro, Rashford, Anthony, Xerxes, Dalot, Højlund, Xerxes twice. Evans all need to do one in the summer. Nearly all of them are probably gone apart from Xerxes, to be honest. I really do think, Rashford gone, Casemiro gone, Eriksen, Lindelof definitely gone. Anthony will be gone. Dalot, I don't know. Dalot and Xerxes are the only ones, maybe. But I think Dalot's treading on eggshells at the moment. He's on thin ice, that man. Very, very thin ice right now. I think he's just clinging on. I'm sad now. And X stole my signed green and gold Cantona shirts. His own match shirt as well. That's not easy to take, that one. I'd be fuming with that as well, mate. Never mind, just sad. I'd be on the rampage if someone did that to me. Can't believe so-called fans calling out Ruben already. Disgusting behaviour. We don't call him out on this channel. We understand the situation he's in. And I think everybody, even with the situation that we're in and how bad we are, understand what is going on right now. I hope these players don't give up before the end of the season. It won't be nice to see United and Spurs fighting for safety to the wire this season. Oh, Spurs looked desperately poor last night again, didn't they? McFarty says only one player, Rashford, has failed under this manager. The others are just playing the way they always were. I mean, players failing. It's hard to say. Like, he's the only one that's been outcast, and that tells you a lot, doesn't it? That tells you an awful lot. So I think you could probably say you're right on that side of it. Rashford really has shown his true colours in terms of attitude, and I think that's one thing United fans won't stand for, is the attitude side of things. Quickly on the over 400 likes as well. Thank you, everybody. Amazing. Also, the news regarding Gyökeres, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there, that is the headline going around. There's multiple sources talking about Wesley. There's quite a few on the Gyökeres one as well right now. Victor Gyökeres' mindset is to join Manchester United in the summer. He has offers from Arsenal and Barcelona, but he wants United first. We will see, won't we, in the summer? Don't want to get too much into that, but Wesley and Gyökeres, Quenda, they're the hot topic players at the moment for Manchester United and what's been talked about the most in the transfer window. But really, right now, we're looking about the here and now. United can take a big step. You know what? United might fluke their way into the Europa League again next season. If we get lucky draws going through the FA Cup phase again and get to the final, like, United will always turn up in a final. That's it. United will always turn up in a final. We've seen it even under Erik ten Hag. Can we get there? I think we can. Like, we beat Leicester, you're into the 5th round, and then you're getting into the real sort of back end of the competition. I think that's the last 32 then, isn't it? Then you're into... it's the last... Is it the last 16 when you go into the 5th round? I think it is. Quarterfinals is round 6, isn't it? So that's the last 8. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that's it. I'm just trying to think. The FA Cup goes on forever and a day, doesn't it? It really does. Get me some players who you would play tonight as well. Who are you starting tonight? Dalot is a traditional fullback. I think he's doing decently considering. I'd probably sell him because if he doesn't fit, move now while he has value. But I don't get the hate by some. He's always fit too. Yeah, he is. He puts a shift in. He does that. But I just think his quality isn't there. And sometimes you have to just you look at some of the basic stuff with him and you're like, how? How are you even that bad? What are you doing, Dalot? And then one game, he'll be absolutely phenomenal. And he'll be brilliant. And you're just like, God, there it is again. There's that consistency factor. And then it gets everybody talking. No, Stu, not Wesley Sneijder. No. We're not going down that saga again. Andreas with another super chat. Thank you. What happens if we win the FA Cup and Europa? We go into the Champions League and someone else will take our Europa League place. That is wishful thinking, not getting the cup double in our worst ever Premier League season. Wow. That would be conflicting opinions all over the place, wouldn't it? But can you imagine that happened? Oh my God, that would be absolutely crazy. Anyway, that is our show all wrapped up and done. Thank you so much. Great numbers this morning. Again, everybody, thank you so much. Get your comments in below on that Ruben Amorim bombshell press conference embargoed version in the comment section when the live is finished. Please do give the video a like on the way out. I think if we did, we'd probably get well over 500 likes on the show. Cheers, everybody. Again, great comments today. Make sure you have subscribed to Forever United TV. Hit the bell notification for all of your matchday content coming up later on today. And of course, if anything else does break, I'll have you covered throughout the day. But for now, everybody, that is it. Have a fantastic one, people. And I'll see you all later on. Come on, United. Matchday. Friday night.